I'm Julie Saunders.
I'm Jan Wilson. Julie and I both have experience as school librarians, and we've worked together as district library leaders.
In each episode, we'll dive into our profession with interviews and meaningful content to inspire you. We're not experts,
but we're pretty close.
The ideas and opinions shared by any host, guest, or listener are their own and do not represent those of any respective school district.
Welcome to Library Exchange.
This episode is supported by our friends at Kids Discover. We are sure you remember the beautifully written and illustrated Kids Discover magazines on topics like the American Revolution, ancient Egypt, and ecology.
Now, their digital platform, Kids Discover Online, is fast becoming a favorite for K-8 students. It offers an entire library of science and social studies content with multiple reading levels and a suite of features, making it accessible for every learner.
Ready to try it? Visit kidsdiscover.com/digital to get 60 days of trial access for your entire school.
Hi, everyone. We're excited to bring you another episode of Library Exchange, and we're super excited about our guest today, Billy Allen.
Billy is the founder of Three King Visions, a brand dedicated to fostering a love of reading in children.
He's an example of someone who has reimagined what it means to be a librarian in the 21st century, and he's done this through his service and mentorship in the Las Vegas community.
He's well known for his hip-hop Storytime, and his impact hasn't gone unnoticed. In 2024, he received the City of Las Vegas Compassionate City Award, and just last year, he was the recipient of the James Partridge Outstanding African American Information Professional Award for his leadership and dedication to the profession.
Okay, so full disclosure, Julie's been practicing that last award name all morning.
At least all morning.
The longest award name ever.
Exactly.
Julie, you nailed it. And congratulations for both of those, Billy, and welcome to Library Exchange.
Thank y'all so much. I mean, Jan and Julie, leading up to this, I was looking forward to. We had such a great first initial conversation, talking about the library joy. And the cool thing about our profession, librarians stick together.
We do. Yeah, we do.
So I'd love to start with your hip-hop story time. How did that evolve? And how do you see that shaping the next generation of readers?
Well, so, when I was growing up, my mom got me into reading by getting me books that I love, like stuff I'm interested in. I was a big video gamer, sports. Like she would order GamePro magazines, PlayStation magazines. I was a big hip hop person, so my mom would order Vibe or the Source magazines. And when I got older and I noticed that I always read, like I was reading magazines and stuff on sports. Well, when I became a librarian, when I first started my career, because most people don't know, when I got my master's in library science, my concentration was academic. Mm-hmm. So when I finished my MLS in 2016, there was nothing but public librarian jobs, right? So my first job, my first interview was a youth services librarian. So I didn't take no youth services programs in library school. So for the interview, they said you had to do a story time and highlight an online resource at the Jacksonville Public Library System. So, I'm looking online, I'm looking at the read alouds. I'm like, I just don't resonate with that. I said, you know what? I grew up on comedy from the Wayans brothers. I'm a huge battle rap fan. I said, I've been a class clown, growing up. So I'm like, I'm going to do it my way. And for the very first read aloud I ever did was Maurice Sendex, Where the Wild Things Are. Mm-hmm. And then I highlighted Brain Fuse. So, when I, started progressing early in my career, I'm doing my story times. I'm finding my niche. I think what people got to realize, everybody has their own style when it comes to storytelling. And when I was in Broward County, my story times were ranging between 100 to 150 to 200 people from a 10:30 session and 11 session. So I called some of my homies. I'm like, yo, are there any platforms for kids to develop a love of reading? I haven't seen it since Reading the Rainbow, especially for people of color.
Right.
We did our research. I haven't seen it. I said, you know what? I'm going to start incorporating music because I seen a lot of my colleagues doing music and movement story time. And I said, let me incorporate hip hop and R&B instrumentals to reading. And when I started doing this, the reception was so strong. I mean, like this book right here, Pete the Cat, Hickory Dickory Dock. I would read this to Kendrick Lamar, They're Not Like Us. And I would read this same book to the same song or different songs, and you get 10 different experiences. And I said the responses from the parents, the caregivers, the kids, and even their older brothers and siblings.
Mhm.
I said, this is the new wave of literacy. And I had my naysayers, people saying, well, that's nothing but performance. I'm like, well, ain't that storytelling? Right? And I think thinking outside the box, where if you think about a lot of school-age children, when they get to middle school or high school, the love of reading ain't the same as when we were doing story time, during the library, right?
Right.
Or when you're in school. So I said, this is the way we got to promote literacy, right?
Mhm.
And I love doing this because anyone can do this. You don't have to just rap the book. You can pick your favorite songs because story time ain't just an experience for the little one. It's a family experience. And I'll share a quick story because it was a battle reading week a couple of weeks ago. And I did a hip hop story time using these same books, Chicka Chicka Boom Boom, Llama Llama Red Pajama.
Oh,
And
fun ones.
I read it to a special needs class of kindergartners and they loved it. The principal says, hey, Mr. Billen, could you do this for our high schoolers? I said, of
Mm.
course, because I've done this before. I already knew the response. So I did the exact same story time for these high school seniors and juniors, and they loved it. They would ask me
Mhm.
questions on
Yeah, I
how can
believe
I
it.
read this when I go home? This is the lasting impact of promoting literacy, thinking outside the
Mhm.
box as librarians. And I've been fortunate, I've been a librarian for 10 years and I've been doing hip hop story time for about 7 to 8 years. And I'm still mastering my craft, but this is an untapped lane. It is music and movement and story time. And I
Mhm.
think the more it can't just be me practicing this, but I'm going to try to kick down the doors and inspiring my colleagues or even the parents and the caregivers that when you're at home, if you want to listen to
Mhm.
Drake or, Jay-Z or like, I'm a little older, but like whatever your favorite music are, they don't just have to be hip hop. It could
Right.
be alternative music, country music, but read to music because we all love music, right?
Mhm.
And have fun when it comes to reading.
Yeah,
I
literacy
love
doesn't have
sorry,
to
go
be
ahead.
quiet. Yeah, literacy doesn't have to be quiet.
Yeah.
Well, I love how you just say that each person during your story time comes away with a different experience, a different
Yes.
Mhm.
perspective from it. So when the adults were bringing their children to your story time, what do you think the impact is on the adults?
Because you got to think about it because every community, every library you work at is different because the
Mhm.
community is different.
Mm.
I've been fortunate to work in extremely diverse communities since the beginning of my career. So when a parent comes in, and then first of all, they've probably never seen a black male librarian before. And then, it's like, okay. And then like, I think, storytelling is all about stage presence, delivery, your energy. People feed off
Mhm.
energy. Like that's one of my
Mhm.
strengths as a librarian in general. Just community engagement. I tell people I'm a walking library commercial. So when they come into their hip hop story time, or I could do a regular story time, they feel the library joy. And
Mhm.
I know, yeah, I got the kids' attention. But once I grasp the parents, it's an experience.
Right.
And the
Mhm.
word, with any library program, they spread the word. Have you been to Mr. Billy's hip hop story time? And that's where I get to open up the door as far as talking about other resources that we have, right? It's like if you reel the parents in and the kid, the parent's not going to disappoint the kid saying, oh, I can't go see Mr. Billy today. No, they're all excited. And I think that's cool. Like, even like in my previous library, Whitney Library, I never seen so many men come to story time bringing their kids.
Oh,
So
I love that.
we're capitalizing on all demographics.
Mhm.
And that's where I love spreading the library joy when I do the Llama Llama Red Pajama to Lil Wayne's A Millie or, Gucci
Yeah,
Mane
yeah.
or Kendrick or Drake, or when I'm listening to music in the car, right? And I'm like, you know what? Let me put that on my
Oh.
phone. I'm going to do that story time today. That's my creative process. Like I am, and it's like for librarians that's watching this, you are artists because we're so creative. And I'm so thankful that Kelvin Watson, my whole career, has supported Three King Visions and never
Mhm.
put the clamps on me pushing pushing the message of hip hop and literacy. And I'm just forever grateful to be a librarian.
Billy, I'm just going to take a stab here and say that you don't have any trouble commanding a room. Am I right? Um,
It's think about it. Think about it, Jan and Julie. Storytelling, is public speaking.
mhm.
And
Yep.
people, I try to break it down to that because we all had managed library staff members that they go into the story time room. They're a completely different person. You see the personality, then they get back on the desk. It's like,
Yeah.
hold up, that's not the same person. Versus, when I do my story time trust, I'm going to listen. I want you to activate your personality, activate your
Mhm.
community because it's customer service still. You want people to feel your energy when you leave the story time room so they can be like, wow, this person is super engaging. So I'm comfortable being myself. Like the storytelling has improved my confidence. I never struggle with confidence, but when we talk
Mhm.
to strangers all the time, because regardless of my regulars, I treat my story times as if no one has ever seen a hip hop story time with Mr. Bill. Because I want to
Mhm.
provide that positive experience. I want you to feel the joy when I say llama llama red pajama, listen quiet for his mama. Like, I mean, you can tell I memorized the book, but like this is the energy that we as librarians have to convey anytime a customer comes into our library or patron.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Advancing technology, designing spaces. Niswonger AV is your comprehensive K 12 education partner. With 50 years of expertise, they deliver innovative technology and strategic furniture solutions that transform learning environments.
Why choose Niswonger AV? It starts with cutting edge AV technology and intelligent furniture design. Their value extends far beyond the products. They use a consultant driven approach backed by a family owned commitment to excellence.
Advancing technology and learning spaces with old fashioned personal service because your library deserves more. For a free design, call Niswonger today at 770-338-0335.
Yeah, so you've kind of led straight into my next question because you are deeply rooted in your community. And so, through all of that local connection, how do you think you've helped change the way that people look at librarians?
The funny part, and I think all of us can relate to this question. Like when I tell people that I'm a librarian, they're like, hold on, take a look at me. I'm like, yeah, I got a master's degree in library science. And people are like, oh, you must love reading books. You got a quiet job. I'm like, nah, that's not what we do. Yes, we have books. I mean, depending on what type of library you work in. Let me
Right.
rephrase that. But like for me, my whole career, I've worked in the public library. And, it's about service to the community.
Hmm.
And especially, I've worked in different cities. I worked in Jacksonville, I worked in Miami, and worked in Las Vegas where people are struggling. And the library is the only place I tell people that welcome all walks of life without judgment. You are welcome into the library. Everything is free. I say it's free 99 to utilize all these resources, right?
I love
So,
it.
when I've been, and again, going back to Kelvin, allowing me, when I first got my job and my previous role as a branch manager at Whitney Library, when I got the role, they said they wanted someone to be the face of the community. I took that to heart. I did. So I was in the mix, like whether I was at a bar or at the grocery store, I was talking to everyone. And that's how I started building my relationships in the community, where I fostered a mobile shower partnership because we had a large unhoused population where, I'm at the bar. And then the first question people ask you, what do you do for a living?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I capitalized on that. The social workers that we brought to the library, that's all having actual real life conversations with people, stepping outside of the box of a librarian. Because sometimes when you leave the library, people just don't think they're not working. I tell people all the time, I am a walking library commercial. You talk to me, you're going to hear about the library. I think just getting homework help. We literally had eviction record sealing programs for the community for people that deserve a second chance. All these partnerships happen outside the library because
Mhm.
I'm always talking to people, and my currency is the people. So when you talk about pushing the boundaries of librarianship, we have to, because if libraries were just about books, and I have to speak even from an academic setting or from a, if you're a media specialist or if you're working in the school, it doesn't matter. Our services is different because the kids come to the library. Like, for example, if you're working at an elementary school, right? The parents, the kid don't know that the parent's struggling to pay bills. The parent may need
Mhm.
housing assistance. They may need food assistance, right? So come to the library. They can take advantage of these resources, right? The library card is free 99. Like, what about like the tutoring? Like, if you're at home and it's Saturday or Sunday, log in to Brainfuse using your library card, or like, let's say, life be lifing. Let's say you're going through a divorce. You have legal forms. You have legal aid.
Mhm.
These are all free programs that I always talk about. And it's so funny because the time that we think we got a lot of stuff to talk about in the library, or we think we can, like, we're capped out. No, it's strictly limitless learning from a librarian perspective and for the customer that comes into the library. So we're just trying to kick down doors. And like my slogan, leaders of the new cool. I really believe in that librarians are leaders of the new cool because
Mhm.
educators have a hard job, right? Imagine a librarian, because we deal with everybody, right? You know? So, and I think people, when they realize all the stuff that we do, we're social workers, we're therapists. Like, we're counselors.
Mhm.
I use a word all the time with my teams that I've managed in the past. Like, we are here to activate the community. Activating the community is providing information and resources. Really listening to the people. It's one thing to do the cookie cutter thing. Hey, here are your customers out and all this stuff. No, you got to be actionable. You need to follow up. You need to really find the joy in serving the community because every community is different.
So, Billy, there was a couple of things that I just wanted to reiterate that you said in that commentary. One was limitless learning, which is a great combination of words to describe libraries, and also the fact that really we do as school and public librarians, it really is social services, right? And you're talking about all the different types of services, and almost like you're the psychologist, you're the career counselor, you're all these things, and honestly, it is. We're in the social services business to help people access limitless learning. And
Yeah.
that's a common thread between public librarians and school librarians that I think is important. That's why it's important to have that partnership with your public librarians if you're a school librarian.
Especially when you talk about outreach, because a lot of times, even if you think about it from that perspective, we're developing a relationship with you where, if we got a program or you need me for career day or whatnot, yeah, I'm coming to talk to the students, but the kid's going to run back and tell the mom or the dad or the caregiver about the library. And
Mhm.
that's how we work together to reel them in, to take advantage of all the resources, whether it's coming to a school night and I'm tabling at your school talking about the
Mhm.
library, or I'm just coming to do a story time, or vice versa. It's a school trip coming to the library. It's all community. It's
Yep.
all community. And we should always, and I want to encourage all my librarians, you'd be surprised how much work we can do when we work together versus
Mhm.
silos.
Yes.
Yes, yes. And we have to always remind people that we are actually working with the same community members, right? We have the
Yes.
same focus. Let's come together and
Yeah.
and really help with that partnership and be able to provide even more services for the same families, right?
Yes.
It's great. Okay, so now transitioning to our last question. You have recently stepped into a new professional chapter, and we know you aren't slowing down. So, can you tell us about what's next for you?
Yeah, I like to say that, becoming a librarian changed my life. And in my experience of 10 years as a librarian, I have learned that I'm pushing the boundaries. We are pushing the boundaries of what librarianship means. So I recently resigned from my role as a branch manager here in Las Vegas to fully take advantage of my platform, Three King Visions, where I want to expand the love of reading by, doing my hip hop story times, doing story times, visiting schools, but also I do more than that. I am a youth advocate. I'm a public speaker, a motivational speaker where, I could come to the schools or come to the rec centers or the summer camps to talk to the middle schoolers, the teens, where what my signature event at my library has been the Teen Empowerment Summit. I know how to elevate the game and the mentality of teens and tweens because a lot of times people don't understand representation is so important. I've literally have built an entrepreneurial background while serving the community. So, and really betting on myself, I've had a lot of success doing this part time while running a whole library, serving the community. And it's like, imagine if I could put 100% effort into this. And that's like literally, I used to tell myself this all the time. I'm like, man, if I had more time to really focus on this, I mean, I've achieved so much because my career coincides with the brand and the platform.
Mhm.
So now it's like, it's all about timing. And I said, yes, let's see what happens. And I'm never ruling out me working in the library because we're librarians for life.
Mhm.
Again, just because you don't work in a library doesn't mean you're a librarian. I mean, we got the MLS because literally still whatever role or where you are in life, you're still serving. You're still providing
Yep.
and helping people with information, and we're the advocates. So now it's like, okay, I'm chasing my dream of really inspiring as many families as possible, really believing the message of what libraries represent, and that's community. Yes, now I can push, and change the narrative that we're not put in a box, that I need to just sit behind that desk. I need to just manage. I need to do this now. Let's manage my career to leverage advocacy for literacy. And
Mm.
I'm gonna lie, ladies, I'm on a mission. Um,
You sound it. I can hear it. I can
Yep.
hear it. We're rooting for you, Billy,
Yes.
and we're grateful for your time. I want to give you the opportunity for everyone listening or watching who wants to bring some of that hip hop librarian or you as a mentor or you as a speaker to be able to get in touch with you virtually or in person. So how can they follow your work or contact you?
well, let me say it again, Jen and Julie, thank you so much for having me on your platform. I'm really honored and humbled. I mean, we've had great conversations off camera. You can follow me on all social media platforms at Three King Visions. If you're a school, your camp, your library, if you want me to come to your library to do hip hop story times, I am available for bookings. You go to threekingvisions.com. If you want me to talk to the teens, the tweens in a workshop or any professional development, or, I'm a youth coach, please reach out to me. Go to threekingvisions.com, shoot me a DM. I'm highly accessible. Follow me on Instagram at Three King Visions. I'm on TikTok. This is what it's all about, supporting each other. And I just want to continue to spread that library joy. And I'll be doing this until I'm 85 years old.
Well, we've enjoyed talking to you. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah. As librarians, leaders of the
That's
new cool.
That's right. We've exchanged ideas, and now it's time for the recap. So, it was really great to hear about Billy's professional life journey from reading all different types of formats from his favorite topics as a child to landing his first youth services public library job.
Mm-hmm.
Who knew how the creative storytime sessions would resonate so much with his community?
Yes, we need to be thankful that his first job interview required him to do a read aloud because look at him now. He had to do a little digging for that.
Yeah.
Listening to him, Julie, just makes me so happy. he really took it to heart when he was told, hey, you need to be the face of the community. And then he turned to his staff and said, we're here to activate the community. I mean, and then when he says, it's free 99 to come into the library, or if you want to get a library card, it's free 99.
I love that.
He's just one of those people who naturally draws you in when he speaks, and his focus is the lasting impact of literacy. And his passion is infectious because now when I'm listening to music, usually when I'm driving, I think, hey, this song has a great beat for a read aloud. I'm gonna try it out with my little niece and nephew.
I love that. So he really makes reading fun by just adding the different types of music with his story time. That hip hop story time really allows the community members to experience that library joy he was talking about.
Julie, I do a little research about combining music and reading, and there's a lot out there. The one common thread is when you pair music with a read aloud and incorporate movement, all parts of the brain are firing. Like, boop, 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 boop,
Yeah, I like that.
And then when a child is with a parent, a family member, or an adult at the story time, or anytime a parent's with a kid when they're learning, that bond positively impacts the child's attitude towards reading. And boy, do we need our young kids to connect with that.
Yes, definitely. So I love how even when he's out in the community, he's a walking library commercial.
Yes.
I love that. I think most librarians are surprised how much marketing it actually takes to influence the public perception of the public and school libraries. We really all need to make sure we're communicating the quality services and limitless learning, as he called it, that our libraries provide whenever we can.
Yes. I started thinking, should we change some of our spaces to be called like limitless learning spaces? I just like it.
That's creative. I like it too.
So, Julie, what's the date for this episode that we're releasing right now?
I believe it's May 4th.
No.
May 11th.
I'm catching you off guard on purpose.
Is it, I don't know. What's the date?
What's 2 weeks from May 4th release?
May 18th.
Okay, good. And then how many years have we known each other and worked together?
It has something to do with May 18th.
Okay. Just
2000.
No, it's just May 18th.
Is that your birthday, Jan?
That's my birthday.
Oh my gosh.
You guys,
of course it's your birthday. The most important day of the year.
Of course, you guys, I just want to say, further proof that Julie and I are not friends. We're just co-workers.
I just have a real hard time remembering birthdays. Don't hold it against me.
All right. So you guys, check out Three King Visions on Instagram and TikTok, and threekingvisions.com for information about the programs he offers. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back June 8th, and it's summertime.
Woohoo! Make sure to visit our website at www.libraryexchangepodcast.com.
You'll find episode notes and links. You can even submit your questions or inspiring stories that may be featured on the podcast.
If you're looking for some swag for your library or book-loving friends, visit libraryexchange.etsy.com.
That's a lot of URLs, so I'm glad you had to say all of that, Julie.
Thanks for joining us. We can't wait to have you back for our next episode of Library Exchange.